What is a cult that pretends it's not cult? Every cult denies they're a cult. Yesterday, I actually observed a job posting that stated, "Don't bother applying if receiving money is your main motivation." Here, we live like a family. One of the most degrading things I've ever read was that. Just to be clear, this job was compensated. They simply stated that they wouldn't be paying you much, I presume. Scientology. The Herbalife company. Despite being accused of being a pyramid scheme, they continue to function similarly. There are some people from my childhood who became addicted to it, and they act very much like members of a cult. Jehovah's Witnesses. Ballet. You are basically at their whim. You are expected to pay tuition, costumes, dancewear, dance shoes, travel fees, competition fees, production fees, tickets, and do volunteer work and give up your entire schedule. If you complain at all about anything valid or not, they shun you by not giving your kid a good role or not moving them up a level. And they withhold attention to your child. You literally must schedule all life around ballet. And pay thousands and thousands of dollars so your kid can be in the back. If you quit, all the former dance parents and friends will shun you. This could be said about all competitive, traveling youth sports. The Duggar family. I saw a Sun article at the supermarket that read, "Which Duggars are the Beyoncé and Jay-Z of the family?" None of them? We figured out who the R. Kelly of the family was, though. There's the usual answers like religions, tech startups, etc. And then there's the BTS army. CrossFitter here. We are absolutely a cult. Fish fan also. Huge cult. No one, and I repeat, no one out-pizzas the Hut. I finally did it. I out-pizzaed the Hut. It was the greatest mistake of my life. After years of perfecting my recipe, I made my way down to the local Hut, fresh-baked pizza pie in hand. "Try this," I told the kid working the counter. He did, and he had to agree that it was better than anything Pizza Hut had to offer. Soon, the entire store, customers included, was feasting on my delicious pie. The manager walked over, grabbed a slice, and took a bite. I look at him, anticipation rising. This was the boss, the local fief lord of the Hut. His approval meant more to me than all the rest combined. He took a bite and nodded. "I'll be damned," he said, "you really did it. You out-pizzaed the Hut. Shame." Shame? What did he mean by? The manager pulled a gun out from behind his apron and shot the nearest customer in the head. "We have a code jalapeno," he said into his wrist as he executed the remaining customers. I repeat, we have a code jalapeno. The ground was slick with blood. The kid working the counter choked out his dying breath as the manager turned to me. "You just had to do it, motherfucker. You just had to out-pizza the Hut." He shoved the gun in my face. I was too scared to fight, too scared to run. The manager pulled the trigger. A click. The gun was empty. I threw a chair at the manager and scrambled out of the Pizza Hut, not even bothering to see if my missile hit its mark. I was closely pursued by the manager, who had gotten his hands on a deadly sharp pizza cutter. I suspected in his hands it would cut more than pizza. Somehow, I was able to get into my car and speed off, the manager cursing my existence as I left him behind. I took a deep breath. The manager was clearly psychotic. Yes, that was it, just a crazy man with a gun. It had to be. My phone rang. "Sister." I picked it. "They're dead," she sobbed. "They're all dead. Mom, Dad, Chris, Bill. Dead. They killed them all." I could barely understand her, so great were her sobs. "What do you mean? Where are you?" I asked urgently. "How is this posy?" A single gunshot sounded through my phone speakers. Silence. Then, I heard a man's voice. "No one out-pizzas the Hut." He hung up. I drove down the empty county road, mind blank. I had nothing. They killed my family. I was alone. At that moment I knew what I had to do. They took everything from me. Well then, I would take everything from them. Pizza Hut was so terrified of being out-pizzaed, they forgot there's one thing worse than a man with a recipe. A man with nothing to lose. I'll give them a limited time offer they won't be able to refuse. 2 bullets for the price of 1. With a free side order of pain. QAnon. Who would have thought that boomers who take 4chan trolls too seriously would end up making a cult? MLMs. Texas A&M. My mom likes to tell the story about when I visited there as a high school senior. It was a one-night sleepover tour. I hated it. When she came to pick me up the following day, I was waiting at the curb, sitting on my packed suitcase. I hopped immediately into the car and the first thing I said was, "It's a cult. Let's get out of here." Mormons. Ex-Mormon here, 55 male. I've taken blood oaths and had my junk anointed in the temple. Learned secret handshake and passphrases to get through the veil into the celestial kingdom, super VIP heaven where you get to do God stuff. Been asked by old men the specifics of my sexual activity starting at the age of 12, including who, where, and the hows. Been taught to view negative information as coming from Satan himself. Thought the power of the priesthood combined with consecrated virgin olive oil could raise the dead and heal the sick. Mom. We are not a cult. Me. Mom, you make blood oaths and learn secret handshakes in your temple. That's kinda the definition of a cult. Mom. We stopped doing that a long time ago. Me. Could not have been that long ago because I sure the heck remember it. AMA. The Amish. They control nearly every aspect of their followers' lives and live in incredibly insular society. Sure, they let their kids experience the outside world and choose for themselves through Rumspringa, but they seemingly set them up for failure by throwing them into the deep end with no preparation at a time in their lives, 17 to 21, when people aren't noted for great decision-making. When the kids almost inevitably end up crashing and burning back into the fold, they are forced to remain for the rest of their lives through the threat of shunning, where even your own parents will treat you as if you are dead and invisible. Sure, they look quaint with their beards, buggies, and barns, but if you actually look at them critically, they're as bad as any other cult, they've just been around longer. Edit. Whoops, mixed threat and treat. The amount of child and animal abuse you can casually witness every day in my Amish town is astounding. I may be downvoted for this, but the TikTok did community. Southern Pentecostal Baptist snake handlers grew up going to one of these churches. Long drive to a small church hidden in the woods. They honestly believed only their members were gonna make it to heaven. We saw some crazy stuff in that building. Scientology. MAGA. Ohio State. Not necessarily a cult, but children having to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day in school gives off cult vibes. MAGA. CrossFit. The first rule of CrossFit is that you must talk about CrossFit. Literally all of them. There isn't a single cult, including the really scary ones that people make documentaries about, that believes it's a cult. Source. I was raised in the Children of God Family International. We never thought we were in a cult, but we very much were. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka the Mormons. 100% cult. 100% denial. NFT, crypto community. Elon Musk fans' most new mommy social media. Reddit, shush guys. A lot of my friends and family tell me I'm unknowingly in the cult of Jeep owners. I mean, it's a Jeep thing they wouldn't understand. Am I in a cult? Here's a quick checklist of red flags to find out. Single figurehead, typically affluent and regarded as a religious figure or someone with access to one, talks to God, has prophetic visions. An inner circle of acolytes that new recruits are expected to look up to and try to become. Examples include one of the figurehead's multiple wives, lieutenants, an MLM upline, or the team leader. Asking for too much money. A collection plate is normal, but if they ask for an amount that damages you, that's not okay. Tithing refers to 10%, and that's a good guideline. If you are expected to contribute more than 10% of what you earn, that is highly questionable. Certain mainstream cults frequently request members donate their entire savings and house to the church as a test of faith and to ensure the member has nowhere to go if they try to quit. Cut off friends and family outside of the cult. The cult can't survive scrutiny from the outside world. Limiting interactions to other cult members means the cult is your source of information, creates a sense of us versus them, and ensures people who believe in the cult are your baseline social normal. Everyone else is abnormal and wrong. Control of personal life. A cult isn't just part of your life, it's your whole life. The cult may require certain dress, food, jobs, sleeping arrangements, event attendance, and volunteering for the church. The difference between a religion and a cult is that a religion is part of your life, but your entire life is just a part of a cult. MLMs, particularly Mary Kay. I once attended a convention as a consultant's guest in an effort to persuade me to go. Very Stepford-like. She also failed to inform me that you were supposed to dress up, so I arrived in jeans and a hoodie. I filled in for the receptionist at a Cadillac dealership once. It happened to be the day of a pink car ceremony, which is when a Mary Kay consultant gets the keys to a pink XT5. The consultant and their team have to make $100,000 in sales in a year to get that car. Oh, and they don't immediately own it outright. A crying middle-aged lady sitting on the hood of a $50,000 car while about 10 of her friends, half of them also crying and all of them emotional, take photos and video. 7 of them walked up to the reception desk and tried to recruit me, and most of the women who worked in the dealership. Chic fill a drive-through. Scientology.